Any, we are live on the YouTubes. Hey Nick, what's happening?
Hello, how are you?
Are you an AI?
I
You
might
look
be.
robotic today.
Oh, I
We're
think
watching Futurama with the kids, so there's a lot of robot jokes happening, and the crossover with the AI world is a lot of fun.
nice, nice. So what is our topic for today, good sir?
Yeah, so I think we talked video creativity, and anyone who tunes in now, our podcast episode 2 and YouTube video 2 will be dropping at 5:30 this evening, 5:30
5:30.
Eastern. So check that out. We go deeper into some of the creative tools we've mentioned on the last few lives, and so that'll be cool. So instead of talking about ChatGPT image gen and text to video and all sorts of creative outputs, I wanted to get your read on the topic du jour on the interwebs in programming circles right now, and that is vibe coding. Vibe coding
Mm.
is all the rage and all the thing to poo poo at the same time. So maybe
Pros
just
and cons, man.
I was gonna say maybe like what is how do you define vibe coding? Because it also like I think people were doing it before it was there was this
Let me
term, and then was
pull
it
it up.
Carpathy
Yeah, Andre
uh,
Carpathy.
said
I'm actually here.
yeah,
I got it pulled up here now.
all right,
So I'll share this out, and for any of you friends who don't know, Andre Carpathy, he is a high level AI researcher and has worked at many different companies, Tesla, OpenAI, elsewhere, um, and um, this is it. This is kind of where the term came from. There's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs are getting too good. I also just talk to Composer with Super Whisper, so I barely even touch the keyboard. I ask for the dumbest things, like decrease the padding on the sidebar by half, because I'm too lazy to find it. I accept all always. I don't read the diffs anymore. When I get the error messages, I just copy and paste them in with no comment. All right, it goes on from there. But
yeah,
so I have vibe coded plenty at this point, right? You use a tool, and there are the highest level tool. I mean, the main tools, you have Cursor, you have Windsurf, and then you have other things like Rue and Klein, and I guess you have things like Claude Code, and there are other tools, right? There are
mm-hmm,
different ways to do this. And then so my most of my experience is in Cursor, and you have a little sidebar up, and inside that sidebar you're talking to the AI, and the AI knows that your code exists over on the other side. And so you can say, hey, I need to move this thing 10 pixels to the right, or I need to add an image over here, or let's make the background green. And you just say it, and you can either specifically reference a file that you know that it's in, or
mm-hmm,
because you're in agent mode, it can go out and like it searches your code base. And it's like, okay, well, you're telling me to update the background to your team page. Let me go find your team page somehow. And then it's usually pretty good at it, and it updates it.
mm-hmm,
So the way that I think of it is there are some really obvious and amazing use cases that are not problematic in the least. And at that level, what you're talking about is an update to some, like I was just talking about. If you're on some marketing website for some company, and you need to make a few edits to some random page where you need to add a new section that says a new thing, you're not talking about like mission critical code that needs to be optimized to the nth degree, that has security implications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And so all you do is you just tell your code editor to update it, and then you see it if it did it right, and then
mm-hmm.
you push it up to through Git or whatever your deploy process is. You upload the file through FTP or whatever it is, right? And that kind of vibe coding is like how, in my opinion, if you're just like a WordPress dev who's making edits to, consumer websites, that's largely how you should be doing things, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's better, it's easier. Oh, sorry, inside this, you can also reference documentation, right? So you can say, oh, here's the documentation for some plugin, or here's WordPress docs or whatever, and
Yeah.
it just knows what to do. So that kind of vibe coding is really great. Then there's the like other type of vibe coding where you're creating full custom apps from the ground up, and you're just telling Cursor, let's say, what to do, right?
Hmm.
And in that, it's like, make me a Flappy Bird clone, but instead of Flappy Bird, I want it to be a turtle, and instead of the sky in the background, it should be the sea. Enter.
Yeah.
And it just starts spinning up a bunch of files, and it creates a bunch of stuff or whatever. And that's the like most, you could do a lot of planning beforehand too. Sorry, I'm rambling, but
No.
like
Yeah.
you can before you so a cleaner way to do it, a better way to do vibe code is to plan up front. But you can just like go straight in and like just say, hey, create this thing and see what happens and see what comes in.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know what kind of graphics it's going to have. You don't know if it's going to work. Like you just do it. And if it doesn't work, you say you can even if it doesn't work, you could say something as simple as that didn't work, fix it. Or you can go into console and grab the errors and give it to it, or you can go into wherever and find the right logs and give it the errors and say, hey, this broke, can you fix this, or blah blah blah, whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine that if you're creating a full app, well, there are different types of apps that are way more problematic for something like that. Like this one guy, what's his name? Peter Levels, I think his name is,
Okay.
who vibe coded the I think it was Levels. I can't remember. Levels on X. He vibe coded the a video game,
Yeah.
and it he's making some tens of thousands of dollars off of ad space that he's created a flight simulator in, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I've never coded a video game before, and I just like told it to do these things, and now he's making a bunch of money. And so like that's cool, that's great, good for him. But then what if you want to make a, I don't know, like a banking app or something, or some app that requires so much more security, and you don't even know what you're doing. And so then you can just and there are endless amounts of like security holes, like possible issues for
Yeah.
like things that can go wrong. I mean, you see these stories. One guy had his app hacked, and he talked about it all on Twitter. And another guy, or like people are talking about. So there's a thing called a .env file. It's an environment file, and you put, for lack of a better term, you put your secret codes in that env file, right? And that's where all your secret codes stay, and it needs to be very secure so you don't hard code like your OpenAI API key.
Hmm.
Because if someone has access to your API key, they can make calls to OpenAI and charge your account money. And that is no good for
It's
you
bad
and for
news.
OpenAI and so on and so forth. And so if you don't know to do that, you don't know to do that. You don't even know that exists. You've never heard of an env file before, and you just have this app vibe coding all your files for you, and you don't know what to ask for. You don't know that there are problems that you need to say, oh, don't watch out.
Yeah.
um, so I kind of all that's an off the cuff brain dump about vibe coding. It's like great and dangerous. And yeah, that's it. I mean, what do you think, man?
I was trying to think of allegories. I think it's important in this stage where we're like drinking from the fire hose of all this new news and new terminology and new this and new that. Like, what is the constant things or where are the patterns? I don't have a good answer for that. Vibe coding is like if you're an author, if you're like journaling, if you're making a mind map, you're like not actually building the thing, you're just kind of letting your consciousness flow. And that hopefully results in some helpful step towards some goal you have. That's kind of like what this smacks of to me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because again, if you vibe code something mission critical and you haven't attended to the details, you're open to the risks, and you kind of deserve what you get. I don't think of AI as a shortcut machine. I think of it as a busy work killer, and that might look the same to the outside, but the one thing or one of the things that AI cannot do and no model is replicating and nothing is touching this at all yet is how can an AI be responsible, have responsibility, have authority to do something. That's just not baked into this class of tool, this generation. We don't know how to do that yet. And so like If you need something mission critical, it's on you. It's not on your AI. If you're going to deploy something, you can't outsource the security or the thoroughness. And so that's where, like, last week you had that soundbite, and we used it as a short of like, become a pro web designer. And then we kind of both like, all right, well, like that's a catchy title to use in a YouTube thumbnail, but
Yeah.
like, you're not a pro web designer because you don't have the wisdom of a pro web designer. What you're doing is you're getting pro web designs from a standardized, aggregated tool that responds to your instructions.
Yeah.
But you're not a pro web designer. The question becomes, or one of the evolutions of the question becomes, is will we need pro web designers, or will we need as many as we have? And will that
Right.
be a supply demand adjustment when I can
And
just go get
I
them?
don't want to just put it on design too, because I mean there's truth there for developers, or maybe a certain type of developer. I mean, I, you know, as we have briefly mentioned in the past on some of these lives, maybe in the podcast, that I'm maybe a bit more pessimistic than you are on this front about AI, and I expect job loss. I mean, I don't expect it. I already see it. There is job loss due to AI, and I expect more, and
Yeah,
that's in the form of. I mean, it's going to affect white collar workers, and
yeah.
so designers and coders are absolutely inside that, like the Venn diagram of those who will be affected. um, and it's not 100%, but it's not 0%.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I think one unanswered thing. I mean, there's many unanswered things, but one of them is like, what is the path? I was talking with our friend Mark about this because he's a senior engineer, senior developer, and
Sure.
he's done that for companies that have like development teams, and development teams are very structured purposefully. Like, you think you take the most analytical population on the planet and make them design systems for themselves, and that's what like agile development is, and waterfall, and all these like tools and systems and stuff. And so I think it's really interesting to see how they reorganize as development organizations. And then
Yeah.
his piece is like, and I'd like to have him on in the next few weeks to do some interview series, but it's like treat the AI as a junior developer. They don't know enough to be let free, but they're executing enough with their strengths that if you steer them in that way, it makes sense. And that's what I think vibe coding is.
Absolutely.
Vibe coding is the soundbite version, the tweet version that sparks conversation from us in the peanut gallery, not the genuine, the people who are building these models. And so then there's all these pros and cons, and it's like, yeah, a
Well,
shortcut
I
is
don't.
bad. A shortcut where you don't earn it, like doing it the easy way to shortcut it, is not right. But if you understand it and
I gotta
you,
hold on, hold on.
all right,
I gotta jump in there,
all right,
because to me, it's about the type of thing that you're making. If you are making something for yourself that has extremely low to no security implications, if you're building something like, I don't know, like a mortgage calculator, or I don't know. Like,
yeah,
there's no account, there's no security hold, there's no Stripe payment, there's no whatever. Like, vibe code away, man.
sure,
Like, there's like, it's not because if it works, it works, and if it breaks, it breaks,
yeah,
and that's fine. And so it depends on what you're building. Like, if you build a fun little game, like if you tonight vibe coded a game for your kids,
mm-hmm,
that would be cool. But like, whatever. And so to me, it's about the thing that you're doing. The
yeah,
higher the stakes, the more care you have to put into it, no matter what. And
yeah.
that's just true.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I agree with all of that. I mean, I did that last week. I have an interface in mind for one of the tools that we've been talking about building as part of
Yeah.
this content for the audience, and I was like, I have all the ideas in my head. I don't know how I actually want the interface because it's kind of unique. It's not something that's out there, and there's like an admin component. You kind of have to design both sides of it. You design the user and you design the admin interface, and those things have to be tightly coupled. And I don't know, in like 6 back and forths with Claude, it was like it had, a front end prototype that I could just click through
Sure.
and use and show. And it's like, yeah, that I know how to
Claude,
program.
Claude creates pretty ugly stuff, though, in my opinion.
It was visually very sparse, very Spartan,
Yeah.
but it was not a problem for what I needed, right? To your point, it's
Sure.
the goal of the thing. And so at that moment, it was like, yeah, this serves the purpose. This actually wireframes it out in very clear ways. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I don't know. So then,
Oh, unless you have somewhere to go, I have
no, go
something that I want to like throw at you and
run
just
it.
get your feedback on it.
Yeah.
So, as maybe all of the viewers right now that I see too are watching, which are probably us, can tell, um, Vibe coding became a thing, and then quickly after that, Vibe started getting prepended to many different things. Vibe this, Vibe that, and one of them, the obvious extension, is Vibe marketing. And so I pulled this post, tweet, whatever up here that goes over Vibe marketing. I want to read a little bit of it, and then if you would be so kind as to maybe riff slightly on it.
Yeah.
So it's from Greg Eisenberg, a guy that I think does good work, good output. Remember how Vibe coding transformed 8-week development cycles into 2-day sprints? That same 20x acceleration is hitting hitting marketing teams right now. It's called Vibe marketing. The old world, marketing teams with 10 plus specialists, copywriters, designers, analytics, media buyers all work in silos, drowning in meetings and Slack threads, taking weeks, thousands of dollars to launch anything. The new world, a single smart marketer with AI agents and workflows testing tons of marketing angles in real time with hundreds of AI agents running the show, launching in days, not weeks. I'm seeing stuff that sounds like science fiction. A CRM that autonomously finds prospects, analyzes their content, extracts data, and crafts personalized messages all from a browser extension. A tool that captures competitor ads, analyzes them, and auto-generates variations for your brand. A system that runs Instagram giveaways automatically from entry to winner selection. A service and company that built an AI-driven map showing customer segments and conversion flows and using census data. A platform that literally generates entire digital product launches, sales pages, VSLs, email sequences, ads in 24 hours. So like that's kind of like it's I do think it's a bit of a light of a definition. It just says a single smart marketer with AI agents and workflows testing tons of marketing angles. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like the definition that he gives. And there's probably a better way to say it. But like I just kind of wanted to throw that at you and have you react briefly.
Yeah. I've got several reactions. Obviously, um, I've done just about everything in the marketing space, from big brands to small brands to, hustle, you know, uh, no budgets to millions of dollars of budgets to sales to brand awareness. Like I've got books, I've got volumes, I've got of all of that. Like if you wrap it all up, it's 30,000 hours. It's like if 10,000 hours is a decade, I've got 30 years of like all of that. So I try to unpack it for people who don't necessarily have, like we could jump into so many directions. My first reaction is like marketing has less, and it shouldn't be this way. It seems like this shouldn't be the case, but it's just true. It has less concrete feedback loops and signals than development, because if development is function, like you want to vibe code something and you get a functional output, it worked. The problem with using AI as an automated answer for marketing is that it will come up with lots of good ideas, come up with a campaign, and you'll read that campaign, and then that campaign will perform or not, but you don't know until you run it. You know what I mean? And also like why it didn't perform and what you read into the results are very subjective. If you take 10 marketers and you give them the results of a given campaign, you'll get 10 opinions on what to do next. And so I think AI has a great future for like being the sidekick to marketing strategists. I think there's a ton of busy work that can be killed. I think agencies need to be very transparent when they're using AI and not be billing by the hour. That's like a trap. If you're paying an advertising agency, if they've sold you 80 hours a month of copywriting, you need to like get some level of guarantee that they're giving you 80 hours a month of human copywriting, or better yet, if you have a good relationship with them, transfer that money to another skill. Like don't pay 80 hours a month for someone to write your copy when you could be more efficient and have your money go elsewhere, right? I think that's more the parting
Allow
of
me
the.
to allow me to, I agree that that makes sense to me. Is shift back just so you to stay on the track of vibe marketing there.
Mm-hmm.
So if the definition is a single smart marketer with AI agents and workflows, testing tons of angles in real time with hundreds of agents running the show, launching in days, not weeks. So the idea there is, I don't know, I'll throw out a scenario. I have 5 grand to spend on marketing for a product that I would launch in May.
Yeah.
And the one version that they're saying is the old thing is you have a team of people and there's media buyers and analytics people and copywriters and designers and blah blah blah, all these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, 5 grand won't go too far, but let's say I could pay for all of them and I have 5 grand for this ad spend.
Yeah.
Like the one is a team that has to work together. They work separately and then they come together and have meetings over Slacks and blah blah blah. Or another is that you have a person who has set up agents to run small tests and you boost where tests when those tests do well a little like better than others, you boost those over not boosting the ones that are falling flat. Because imagine you don't just create 4 social media ads. You could create 400 if you wanted
Mm-hmm.
to, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
create endless images, and some of them could be video, some of them cannot be video. It can all be done automated. And then you could put some amount of ad spend. You could, schedule them all, and you don't care. I mean, it's just a test. Because you have so many, you're scheduling all times of the day, any day of the week, whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then you just get sort of like pretty quick feedback. You have this real quick feedback loop of like, well, this one did this and this one did that. Are you saying that like that's just not enough time? There's not enough money in all those small little tests to really give you any alpha to push you anywhere? Or like, what do you? I mean,
Yeah. I I think that like do better, if this ad does better, is like a deceptively really impossible thing for you to
sure,
to know, because like again, like I said, like it shouldn't be this way. Your feedback loops, the ideal, the thought experiment marketer is saying, well, yeah, I'll have a better ROAS, or I'll have a better conversion rate, or a better click through rate, or whatever, right? But like in my experience, 3 metrics are going to tell you 3 different stories. So if you pick
mm,
click through rate as the thing you're optimizing for, but it's not ROAS, you know what I mean? Like, and so like I'm assuming the agents aren't smart enough. I'm hearing my own bias in my answer because the
fair
current
enough.
state of the tools that I've used, and that includes like trying to wire up legacy code with AI for automation purposes, using make.com to say, let's let's boost a campaign. Well, you can't. You can't do that.
Well,
And
but
I'm
make is not an agent,
no,
It's
no, it's not. It's
like
not. But is there
Manus.
an
Like I don't know, I don't know how good Manus is at it. Do you?
no? I'm very skeptical that anything would buy ads at this moment
Of
in
course.
time.
Yeah.
Technologically speaking, it's not a barrier that will be solved.
The
So I'm trying
buying
to,
is one thing. I agree there. Like actually being in the inside Facebook and like placing them, right?
because
Yes.
where do
The
you post?
creation though.
Let's say we're going to do 200 tests in the next 5 days. So what
Yeah.
is a test if it's not paid media? Paid
Yeah.
media gives you real estate to push forward a bunch of variations and a bunch of variables to like learn
Yeah.
from, but that's expensive. Do you like the thing I don't want any agent to do is spend my money yet, because I've never had a free great example, let alone that's why
Yeah.
like all these examples, like it'll book travel for you. And like hands off my
Yeah.
Airbnb. I don't want
No.
you booking my travel. Like I
I
want you
do think
telling.
I think there's test and content here though, man. I do. I think that there's something like like what's the best vibe marketing can be right now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
You
that
can
that's
write
an
blog posts and you can
interesting
post blog posts, right? You can write organic content and post it organically. You can create content with inputs. I don't know. I don't know the like. I don't know.
well,
And
I was saying it not as for you, not a thing for you to answer. I was saying it as like that's something that's to me
yeah,
it's a
we should
challenge. It's
totally.
what is the absolute cutting edge right now of an agent's ability and to do ad spend, like I mean to go do the whole thing, to like
Yeah.
actually place and buy and test and boost what's working and not, and etc. Like that's an interesting question because maybe it's only 20% there and the rest sucks.
I was
So
gonna say, absent a tool that goes further than I've seen, which may exist, probably
Yeah.
exists, right? Absent that, you could set some automation up about,
I got to run.
oh yeah,
Sorry.
you do. Yeah, you're good.
I have
You're
a
good. All
hard
right.
out.
To be continued. Let's to be continued. Because we'll talk
I was
forever
gonna
on
say
this.
TBD. TBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Cool, man.
All right. Adios.
See ya.